Hello everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to another market open. Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning. We're gonna wait till everyone gets in. Markets are looking kind of interesting today. It's not looking insane in terms of the blood that I think we expected. S&P is doing decently well by holding up. It's at 419. It was at 418 last night. Nothing absolutely insane. Emmanuel, bro, what's up? Happy you're here. We're just going to wait till people get in. Markets are interesting right now. It's like, I think they have a question. Do they care about oil or do they not? That's what I think they have to figure out. Do they care about oil or do they not care about oil? Because eventually they have to answer that question, right? If they really care about oil, then things are going to happen. If they don't care about oil, they're not going to happen. You're my cup of coffee. Good. I love it. Tuesday morning. I mean, this gets me up and excited and ready for the day as well, just like it should hopefully get other people excited. Because, you know, when you've got a day, you've got to take advantage of the day because you've got a day. So you've got to do something in the day. Palantir Long, good morning. Volcente, hi guys. That's Nelson, right? I believe Volcente is Nelson. Let me know if I'm wrong with that. I'm hooked on Market Open live streams. Good. Eventually there will be many people hooked, hopefully, over the course of the next year. And it's going to be fun to do that. Yo, have you seen D-Nuts in the pre-market? That was funny. I don't think D-Nuts is a real stock, right? If it was, that would be... Oh, wait, is it? It was Krispy Kreme. So here I am right now at Krispy Kreme, and we'll keep going. We're about to sanction Russian oil. What's up, Ramus? Yes, David. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're pretty much sanctioning them. Yeah, it's an interesting scenario that we're in right now with the market. Very interesting scenario. Trying to figure this all out, trying to make sense of everything that's going on right now. Look, the Russian oil stuff is really interesting. I think that the latest developments are that either we are getting oil from Venezuela and Saudi Arabia, and we're in negotiations right now to lift up sanctions from Venezuela. And those negotiations have started. We put on sanctions on Venezuela in 2018 or 2019, and we have refused to recognize the Maduro regime as an official regime in Venezuela. And as a result of not recognizing them, relationships are horrible. But now... Now that Russia can't give us our oil, it's like Venezuela's back on the table for us to be able to talk about them. No, Volcente is Visualte. Okay, gotcha. I thought you were telling someone else, Nelson. Range Rover, what's up? RM, hey, how are you? Aurelio says, can we not open the markets? Let's go into the watch list right now before we get into... We have 5 minutes from the market. By the way, guys, I bought a bell from Amazon. It was like $12. I'm going to be ringing it once it comes in. I think it comes in today. So tomorrow I'll ring it at 9:30 a.m. every morning when the market's open. So we'll be able to see that. So this is what pre-market looks like. Decent amount of red, a little bit of green. Let's look at Bitcoin. Oh, first of all, guys, I don't know if you saw this stock. Big Bear AI, it doubled last night. Or over the course of a month, but I think it went up 30% last night to 970. Big Bear AI and Palantir have a strategic partnership. Let me read exactly what Big Bear AI does, because a lot of people were like, oh, are we competing with Big Bear AI? And the answer is no. And here is the exact answer why it's no, because I was messaging a friend who knows this a lot more deeply than me. And this was the answer. It's actually a very strategic answer around Big Bear, given how confused I was. Because I was like, yo, if you go on their website, they seem very similar to Palantir. Like, they don't seem that different, to be honest. And I was just like, so why are we partnering with them? Like, what's the sort of argument here? What exactly is going on? And this was the answer my friend gave me. I can't wait to watch my portfolio drop another 10% today. So excited. I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. Maybe it's not that bad. So here's what the difference is between Big Bear AI, and here's why we not compete with them. Big Bear AI makes AI models and partnerships. The partnership with Palantir is to use them for the Foundry platform as data in Palantir. Palantir does not supply the AI models. So they use Foundry for data as part of the thesis to get in them that would introduce efficiency in their organization and focusing on just models. Meaning when they create AI models, that is fundamentally different than creating a platform for data, because Palantir is not creating an AI model. Palantir is creating like the shovels to deal with the gold that is your data. So in data analytics, preparing data for AI or analytics is 90% of the task, which is what Foundry does. Preparing data for the AI is what Palantir does. And then you use that data to create the AI models, which different algorithms, using different algorithms, which is like creating different models, which is what Big Bear AI does. So Big Bear AI creates the AI models. Palantir creates the data to be able to power those AI models in order for them to be able to make sense. So the moat in AI models is to know what algorithms to use and what parameters to use them within those algorithms. So it is a fundamentally different product, even though it seems similar. But nonetheless, we did a partnership with them, and they're up, which is good. Like, it's good for us. I'm a big fan. Thank you for the great content. Alvarado, thank you for being here. Really appreciate that. Dover State, your neighbors are going to love you with that market open. I don't think they're going to hear me, but if they do, then good. They need to wake up. It's a new day. It's a new dawn. It's time for us to engage with reality. You know what I mean? We gotta do more stuff. Okay. Let's go to Bitcoin. $38,000. Bitcoin is being Bitcoin. Here's my question, guys. If a recession happens, let's say the S&P drops to 3,800, where does Bitcoin go in price? Open question out there. Does Bitcoin go up or does Bitcoin go down? I have a very bad feeling that Bitcoin does not survive if the S&P goes down. And that's why I'm scared of investing. Because you talk about volatility, the most volatile assets in the world are crypto. So it's like, if you do invest in Bitcoin, you got to be ready for if the real crash happens, for Bitcoin to have a crash. Because also, a lot of people investing in Bitcoin are doing it out of their disposable income. These people would never actually hold Bitcoin because they don't really believe in it. There's some hodlers, but then there's most people that don't believe in it. It's for a swing trade. Those people are not holding Bitcoin when things get rough. They're freeing up their capital to probably put into gold or something. And again, that's not bearish against crypto. That's just the nature of how crypto reacts. It's performing with the entire market. Look at ETH, 2,500. It was 4,800. A couple months ago. It's performing with the market. It's not a hedge against inflation at this level. NAC Northern Dynamic is running to the moon. Give me the ticker symbol on that. We'll open it up and we'll see what it looks like. I see a DNA on recently viewed. I'm a sad holder on that. Yeah, DNA is interesting because Kathy was buying the crap out of DNA. We're gonna go to let's go to Kathy's ARC. Let's see how much DNA she's buying. Also, we're going to react to a new Kathy interview, guys. It's only 4 minutes. She just gave a new interview with Yahoo Finance, so we're going to react to that as well. But how much DNA does she have? I'm really interested. So let's go to holdings. Let's go to the full holdings PDF. Is DNA in the ARK Innovation Fund? Yeah, DNA. Guys, she has 35 million shares of Ginkgo Bioworks DNA. And that's in the ARK Innovation Fund. Let's look at ARK G. How much does she have in ARK G? That's an interesting question. That is an interesting question. How much is an ARK G? Because this is the main one, right? This is the big one. She has another 17 million shares. That's about $200 million in both funds, a value of it. So DNA is in ARK KKK, and it is also in ARK G. So if we look at DNA, it's kind of gotten hammered badly. It's not had the nicest day. Let's look at the 1 year on that. Yeah, so she was buying it around this price. Yeah, she was buying it around right here, $10, $12. Now it's literally a penny stock. Now, this might be very promising. She has over 50 million shares of this. I just don't know enough about them. I want to do some more videos on DNA, though, because it seems like a very, very interesting company, nonetheless. Market open. I missed the market open. Well, we kind of already went through the watch list. Here it is, market open, 932. Lots of red. Definitely lots of red. That is also what is happening. Any thoughts on Enphase? I'll talk about Enphase in a second. I think it's a great stock, but I do not know, you know, if it's overvalued or undervalued right now. I would lean towards undervalued, but not fully sure. Lots of red. Lots and lots of red. That is what's going on right now with this market in particular. Lots and lots and lots of red. Let's go to Palantir, of course. Palantir. All right, where are we at? 1080. That's where we open, 1080. So obviously Palantir is down. Yeah, we're down. We're down big. Down 2% already. ARK, guys, goodness gracious. ARK is down 1%, $57. Yeah, everything's red. I'm even looking at my Robin at everything. Oh, Tesla! What is going on? Below 800. Now, how many bet? Who wants to make a bet that Tesla's going to get right back to 830 by the end of the day? Because I have a strange feeling that might just happen. This is a Webull for the people who are asking. What is Webull? What is the software? Yeah, this is interesting. Goodness, Tesla. And again, people were saying, oh, this oil and gas stuff is good for Tesla. No, it's not. It is not good for anyone. Instability caused by lack of oil and gas in the global economy is not good for anybody. It's just that's not the best thing in the world at all. So Tesla's down deeply. I mean, you would say, okay, this is a buying price, but then you also got to think, well, how much worse can it go, right? Like, can it get worse? Now, on February 23rd, look at this, guys. We got to 764. So we're only $20 away from reaching that same level back then. And so that's interesting. That's going to be really interesting. That's going to be rough. Twilio, 136. This one ran up to 240 a couple weeks ago. You know, all the gains that any of these companies made absolutely decimated. I mean, let's open doors at $6. Let's look at Amazon. 2,500 on Amazon. Amazon ran up to 3,000 on a great earnings, even though they cheated with the Rivian stuff. But man. Let's look at the 3 months on Amazon. Amazon, again, see, they had their little run-up right there. They had a nice little run-up right here to 2,800. And now they're just down. They're just down. No market is real. Netflix dropped below 350. Could you imagine Netflix at $290? Like, could you actually imagine that? That would be insane. If Netflix was at 200 something, if I see a 2 in front of the Netflix share price, I might just buy because it's just, I don't know. It's just like, what's going on? Coinbase. I'm just kidding. I'll never buy Netflix. I don't think they have any content. I'm sorry. Coinbase, 160. Whoa, this is a red day, guys. This is officially a red day. This is, you know, in the morning there's kind of a red day. Some stocks are red, some stocks. This is a red day. This is like time to go to the toilet. Did you see nickel prices? Yeah, nickel, guys, is going up. Let me see if I can look it up right here. Nickel is doing phenomenal. Nickel is acting like Dogecoin or something. What is the ticker symbol for nickel? I'm not sure. Let me Google that real quick. But nickel prices. Yeah, let me know if you know the ticker symbol for that. But nickel is going up like insanely. It's up very. Oh, here we go. Let's just do this. Yeah, look at this. 44%. The 42,000. That's what it is for nickel. Look at this chart. This is how it was. Boom. Moon. 156.3% gain. Moon. Absolute moon. If you were investing in nickel, you are making cash. This is a commodity, by the way. The Russia-Ukraine crisis is what's leading this to go a lot more higher. As you can see, some of the daily highs over the past couple of days, it's only got higher and higher and higher as a result of this. On February 7th, it was 23,000. Today, it is 42,000. $42,000. That is insane. Wild, wild, wild. Innovative Edge said they just bought Palantir and more Tesla. Someone said Palantir is recovering. Is it? Is it actually recovering? It doesn't look like it's recovering to me. 1080. Unless it dropped to like 1050 and we got to 1080 or something. Things are bad. NKLA, is that it? Or is that Nikola? Oh, no, that is a... NKLA is Nikola. I think you're talking about NKL. Yeah, I mean, if you just look at nickel, it's up. It's up very well. Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing, guys. Like, do you invest to choose other commodities during this type of moment in the market, or do you just stick and dollar cost average? I mean, for me, I just dollar cost average because like I don't know enough about nickel to just be like, oh, nickel's a good swing trade right now, right? And like that's the problem in the context of nickel. That's why it's very difficult to be able to do this. Do you have any knowledge on trading futures commodities? I know what futures and commodities are in terms of trading them. I don't even trade regular stocks, like in and out of stocks. So that's why I wouldn't feel comfortable trading futures and commodities. Now, will I learn that over time? Yes, but at this point, I'm not going to give advice on how to trade futures or commodities because it's not the easiest thing to do in the world. But I mean, it's a trade at the end of the day. You try to buy low, sell high, and you got to just try to time when is the right time to buy it. Tesla back to 793. See, this is my point. I said, what if you guys think Tesla's going back to 830 by the end of the market? Like Tesla, I don't know. I think it takes a little bit more of a catalyst to get Tesla to just like drop fully. You know, Tesla's at 785. The dip probably got bought by a bunch of institutions, bunch of people, bunch of you guys in the chat, and then it went further from there. Sorry, you read my Palantir recovering message 4 minutes too late. It is okay. It is here. We had energy independence just 1 year ago. We had a pipeline being built. Yeah, I mean, you know, the energy independence thing is really interesting. It is definitely some stuff that is happening. Sean posted about Lickle last night. I was confused. Yeah, Sean is big on commodities. He's into all these other different asset classes that exist. Bro, what is this? Are my eyes seeing in 1080p? Yes, you should be seeing full HD, right? I figured out how to do the streaming in full 4K. It's honestly 4K. It's not even just 1080p. So we're doing it decently. Oh, did Palantir just run? Yeah, Palantir's back at 11.12. Wow. That was a nice run. Not bad. Not bad at all. NFT Gaming, hello everybody. Brandon Wagner says, I buy the things that nobody wants. Eventually they want them just like nobody wanted oil during the pandemic. Yeah, Kathy actually apologized. Let's look at that. She apologized for her recent tweet last night on oil. It was really interesting. And by the way, we're gonna transition to a Kathy new clip that came out. So look at this tweet, guys. Oil demand probably did hit a second. So this was a tweet she had in July 15, 2020. Oil demand probably hit a secular peak last year, and thanks to EVs, now is in secure decline. Though ARK has no formal forecast, I believe that oil prices are on their way back to $12, the level reached after the 1973 oil cartel crisis, or lower now that EVs are taking off. She said this in July 2020 when ARK was, going to the literal moon. And that's what was happening. Now, she quote tweeted that because a lot of people were replying to it. And she said, she also said, ARK Invest believes that oil prices peaked at more than 135 barrels a barrel in 2008 and has been hitting lower highs and lower lows as demand growth has been disappointing expectations for the past 12 years. So notice she says in 2008, she believes that oil prices peaked at more than 135 a barrel. Now, she says, oil demand probably did hit a secular peak in 2019. The supply shock caused by the energy insecurity policy of the current U.S. administration, ESG mandates globally, and now Russia's invasion of Ukraine has raised prices to a point that will accelerate demand destruction. I got the supply shock wrong. That said, the accelerated shift towards electric transportation will destroy oil consumption at the margin. Long term, though longer term than I expected, oil prices will collapse under the weight of lower demand. Innovation solves problems. So her argument is like, look, oil is still going to be like gone. Like no one's going to use it anymore because like who's going to use oil if you have electric vehicles and you have sustainable energy? But she got the supply shock wrong given she didn't anticipate these things, which were the policies of the current U.S. administration, ESG mandates, and now Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Now let's talk about a couple of these things. The policies of the current administration have been anti-energy independence, right? And because they've been anti-energy independence, which we see with the blocking of the Keystone Pipeline, there is a lack of energy infrastructure that is going on in the United States that is formally open towards energy being able to be produced at scale. Now, energy has been able to be produced there's about 9,000 different proven reserves. I was hearing Jen Psaki, the press secretary, talk about yesterday. that do exist for Americans to go for like American companies to do oil drilling, and they're probably going to be looking to expand those now. The question is not, is America producing natural gas? Because that is like true. Like America, I believe last year was a net exporter of natural gas, more than even we were in the Trump era. The problem is, do we have a culture that is friendly to allow things like fracking, nuclear energy development, oil to be created, new oil rigs? And that, given the ESG concerns and the regulations, is not the case, right? Because we had a climate change agenda. And at the end of the day, that's just the true nature of what's been going on in the United States. As a result of that, those ESG mandates in the United States and globally have resulted in a supply shock in oil, because more and more countries feel that they need to transition to other forms of renewable energy. And in order to do that, they need to stop creating oil at scale, because obviously oil is not the best for the world. And then you have the Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This is bad because the entire world is sanctioning Russia. And at that point, prices of oil have to go up somewhere if there's less supply of them, because that's how basic supply and demand works. And that's how it ultimately goes. What's a better buy, Palantir or ARK at these levels? I would say Palantir. ARK is very scary to me to be able to buy, to be honest. Like, I just don't know what's going on with ARK. But, that's what it is. All right, we're going to react to 2 clips on Kathy that just came out, and I want to talk about those. Okay. We're going to react to these clips right now. So, Kathy Wood just did a interview with CNBC International live from Abu Dhabi. I don't know why she was in Abu Dhabi, but nonetheless, she went to Abu Dhabi and she did an interview. It's about 3 or 4 minutes. We're going to talk about what she's talking about, her overall thesis, what her thoughts are, and ultimately how she thinks of innovation given her funds are not doing as well.
I wanted to ask you about some of the other markers in the market. I wanted to ask you about some of the other markers in the market right now, particularly as it relates to the war in Ukraine. Have we seen peak market impact yet, and what should investors be focusing on here?
It's very hard to say if we've seen peak market impact. I know the markets are getting hit today. Typically, the way we see the peak is through the VIX, the volatility index. And it has moved up. It's in the mid-30s. I'm not sure what this morning is. And the shock in 2018 and the one before that got us into the low 40s. Of course, the coronavirus got us to 80. But we're getting close to those cathartic moments in the past.
Notice she says in 2008 we got to the low 40s, and that's when we obviously had a recession. So like if the VIX is above 30, and that's the volatility index that measures how volatile the market is, if we get back up to those low 40 levels that we're peaking at, there's a world in which the market may be reacting the same way that it did in 2008, which could be the potential for a recession, which is why she's saying the risk of a recession has gone up dramatically.
I would be surprised if we do go to the coronavirus levels, because remember, people were expecting a depression. The whole world shut down. This is not that. This is going to cause a lot of problems from a purchasing power point of view. I think the risk of recession has gone up dramatically as purchasing power is dropping dramatically. In the U.S., the consumer saving rate already is down to levels we have not seen since 2013. So that buffer that the stimulus payments created during the crisis, that's gone. And so consumers are probably going to pull back. Sentiment suggests they will. And
now this is actually good for her argument, because if consumer sentiment goes down because there's a fear of a recession, which means people are spending less money, just like they did in 2018 and obviously in 2008, then that means there's less money going into the economy. Why is that good? And why is there less money going into the economy? Because people are saving their money. They don't want to buy a $4 cup of coffee anymore because they're afraid of, spending money on little purchases like that. Purchasing power in and of itself decreases. Kathy's argument is that inflation is transitory, and she still believes in this, right? So in order for growth stocks to come back, inflation has to go away. How does inflation go away? People have to stop putting money into the economy. How do people stop putting money into the economy? Well, consumer sentiment and demand in general on a macro has to go down. So if that happens, that is actually good for her argument, which doesn't guarantee a recession, but it does guarantee at least people stop spending as much as they are right now, because the more people that are spending, the more inflation is just going to go higher.
in some ways they already have. If you average over the last 3 months, this is U.S.
All right, that's the last clip, and this is the next 3-minute clip.
Let's talk about what's happening in the markets right now and what's happening in the fund, because Kathy, it's been said that you are in the toughest battle of your career right now. Not only are you fighting against the market momentum, you're also trying to halt huge losses and outflows. So I want you to address this for us. What is the message to investors here? Do you think that the street is just getting you wrong, or is it time to concede that mistakes have been made?
So let's put in perspective. You mentioned 60%, which is absolutely right. We have been in a terrible bear market for innovation. Hard to understand, but terrible bear.
So I kind of find it weird when she says hard to understand. There's two levels to analyzing that statement, right? When she says it's hard to understand for why we're in a bear market for innovation, the logic I'm assuming she's going with is, well, these stocks are innovating. Technology is technology. So why would anyone not want to own technology stocks that are innovating? Because, you know, technology is the future. So, like, why would you not want to own a Roblox or a Zoom, et cetera, et cetera? Those are just examples of stocks. But if these stocks are innovating and people are using these stocks and they have real revenues and they're growing, why would you not want to use them? But on the flip side of that, you know, it's weird she says that, because it's like, these stocks are valued on what they can do in the future. And if the future is volatile, the future is risky, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. That's the whole reason why innovation is down, why growth is down. If interest rates are going to go higher and growth stocks are only able to grow by like borrowing money and going for market share and not having profits, which means they need to borrow money, which means they need to pay more to borrow capital because the cost of borrowing capital goes higher because interest rates go higher. That means valuations intrinsically have to get compressed because the value of your company has to be less than the value of it is today, because you have to pay more money to make the same type of profits that you would make in the future. So, like, it makes a lot of sense why innovation is down right now, given high inflation, given supply chain problems, and given everything going on in the macro. I think she's betting on in the future it doesn't make sense for innovation to be this low, which is why it territorializes this concept of a deep value territory for her stocks.
Bear market for innovation. However, if you look from the bottom of the coronavirus to that peak in February of 21, we were up 358%. Why? Because innovation solves problems, right? Now we're down 60%, and we have a whole new set of problems, certainly coming out of Russia and Ukraine. If you look at our strategy over a 5-year period, look at the last 5 years, I'm not quite sure what the numbers are, but they are well above our minimum hurdle rate of return, which is 15% at a compound annual rate. And I think over 3 years, we're closer to 25%. So that helps put our performance into perspective. You know, this is a period, if you believe in innovation, and that innovation does solve problems. We had a preview of that after the COVID crisis when our strategies.
So a couple things there. Number one, she says like we've gotten a compounded annual growth rate, a CAGR of around 15%. She has publicly said she can get a 40% compounded annual growth rate over the next 5 years. I think, you know, that's like most people are like, that's just not going to happen. So that was kind of like, and when you say stuff like that, you know, it hurts legitimacy sometimes to trust you, because if you're promising, and she said this in December, we will get a 40% CAGR because of how deep value these stocks are, it's like, well, that means that ARK has to go up 40% this year, and it's like most funds don't go up 40%. Now, granted, she's saying, well, innovation solved problems in 2020, and we had a preview of that. The problem she's not mentioning is that, you know, we had Fed liquidity in 2020. We had stimulus checks in 2020. We had people stay at home, which is why like Zoom kind of exploded in 2020. So it's just to add a little more context. Again, I'm not bearish against ARK. I'm not bearish against the stocks. I'm not like, oh my God, Kathy's like insane. It doesn't make any sense. I believe her fund will grow. I believe innovation stocks will come back. The question becomes, are they going to come back to the level at which they were in 2020 when there was liquidity, stimulus checks, people staying at home, et cetera, et cetera. And she has to be absolutely 1000% correct that the actual technology within these stocks is so innovative that it will bombast people to these new levels. Because now when investors buy growth stocks, when growth comes back, I don't know if they're going to pay the same rich valuations for any regular growth stock, right? Like, is a Roku going to go back to $450 or $380 at its peak because it's part of being innovative? Or is it actually going to get evaluated in terms of how innovative is it? How much is it actually growing? And that's the ultimate question. It's not that ARK is not going to come back. 5 years from now, ARK absolutely will come back. The question is at what level and how innovative will those companies ultimately be?
And in the span of a month, many of the stocks were taken down 75% because either they were burning cash or they had low cash cushions. But guess what? Those were the genomics companies that were going to get us out of the coronavirus. And today, what do we have? We have all kinds of problems, the latest of which is Russia, Ukraine, and all of the commodities coming out of that area, especially hitting Europe. I think we're going to be looking at a lot of demand destruction and substitution into innovation. Electric vehicles as opposed to gas-powered vehicles would be the biggest one. We also have labor shortages all over the place. Again, automation. This is innovation at its best, and it's being turbocharged by this environment as the market is really hitting our stocks. So I think if you were to look at the next 5 years, and if you were to give us that 5-year investment time horizon, we are the closest you'll find to a venture capital fund in the public equity markets. If you were to give us that 5 years, given our expectations for growth in these new technologies, I think we're going to see some spectacular returns.
So let's talk about that real quick. Couple of final things I want to say on that. Number one, she says, look, you got to give us that 5-year time horizon. And if you give us that 5-year time horizon, we will perform well. And I think that makes a lot of sense, right? If you're investing in ARK, if you're investing in growth and innovation, you have to believe that in those 5 years, there's something meaningful going to happen. What's going to happen in those 5 years? Well, she's saying all of the money that's right now being allocated to like gas and oil and all that stuff's going to die out, which means if it's going to die out, there has to be a return on that capital. Where are investors going to put their money to be able to get a return on that capital? It's not going to be gas. It's not going to be traditional stuff. It's going to have to be what we're doing. EV, growth, innovation, genomics, all this type of crazy stuff, which means the ARK funds should be able to benefit off that. And then the final thing she says that's like super interesting is this idea of being a venture capital fund. A venture capital fund is, for those who don't know, an institution that raises billions of dollars and allocates it to a ton of startups. And, you know, they're looking for the next Instagram. They're looking for the next Twitter. They're looking for that next startup that has such massive growth that it returns, you know, billions and billions of dollars. Coinbase was given $200 million by Andreessen Horowitz, which is a famous venture capital firm in California. And they returned $10 billion when they went public. So, I mean, like, they made that venture capital firm a lot of money. Those returns are not 1x, 2x, 3x, 5x, 10%, 15%, 8% S&P average. Those are almost 100, 200, 300x returns. I mean, those are very, very big returns. So when she says we're the closest thing to a venture capital firm, she's saying, look, I know growth is getting hit right now, but if you give us these 5 years and you trust us, we're going to give you some returns that are quite astronomical at the end of the day. All right, let's read some of these comments. Crowd getting decimated. Let's go to crowd. Let's go to crowd. What is going on in the crowd? You know, there's a famous philosopher named Nietzsche who says to always stay away from the crowd. And we can get into that logic and philosophy in a little bit. But, and it seems like maybe we got to stay away from the crowd if it's getting this decimated. No, I'm just kidding. CrowdStrike is a great, great stock, but obviously it's getting hit as well. Again, let's look at the watch list again, guys. Everything's red. Everything. Almost everything is red. Like, it's bad. Let's look at the ruble. Ruble's at 134. Ruble was at 150 the other day. Ruble's getting hit. Decimated. It's bad. I emailed you this morning, Amit. Not sure if you mentioned it. I'll check my email on my phone right now. I did not see your email. But that is it. Palantir new contract with BLK. That's the police news, right? Yeah, I saw this. BLK. Yeah. The BLK. If that's the police news, David, then yes, I did see that. It's really good news. I was actually talking to a guy in Germany who is who's telling me how like the world thinks about Palantir in Germany, and he was like, this is really good news. He's like, people really like this in Germany, so it's good stuff. Growth is going to be energy oil over the long term. I agree. I mean, I'm pretty sure growth is going to beat energy oil. I don't know how growth doesn't beat energy or oil, to be honest. It's like growth at the end of the day. Let's go to CNBC. Let's look at what's going on CNBC. S&P 500 is little changed after the worst sell-off. Yeah, so S&P is still not doing. I mean, it's down $12, but nothing that crazy. Yesterday was a little bit worse. Oh, guys, did you hear about this news? Google is acquiring cybersecurity firm Mandiant for $5.4 billion. It is going to pay $23 a share. And let me look up Mandiant stock because the price rose last night on after hours. Yeah, look at this. So it was at $14. It was last night it was at $19 and then it rose all the way up. Or sorry, $17 and then it rose to 21. So they're buying it for how much? They're buying it for 23 a share. Interesting. So Google announced today, Tuesday, it plans to buy cybersecurity firm. Cybersecurity, hot sector. So for CrowdStrike, for some of those companies, cybersecurity is a very, very hot sector. It makes sense that Google's buying it. If the deal gets approved by regulators, it will be Google's second largest acquisition ever behind its $12.5 billion. Google bought Motorola? I didn't even know that. I had no idea. Oh, they sold the company to Lenovo. Oh, they took a mean loss on that. So that didn't work out. Organizations around the world are facing unprecedented cybersecurity challenges. So that's another thing that makes me bullish on Palantir is like if Palantir can innovate in the cybersecurity world, which they know how to do as well. I mean, like there's so many different sectors where they could go in really well. Okay, cool. So Google buys them. What other news do we have right here? Let's look at market. Let's look at business. Here's economy. It is good for Palantir holders when ARK goes out. There was too much downside. Yeah, honestly, guys, I'm really happy that ARK is out of it because like the ARK stigma is just so bad. It's just like I'm actually happy it's kind of gone. By the way, we're getting CPI data this week. CPI data is expected to be rough. Biden set to ban U.S. imports of Russian oils. Wow. Oh my. That's big news. Big news. Biden set to announce a ban on U.S. import of Russian oil today. He's going to make a press conference today. He's going to be announcing that. The Biden administration will impose a ban on U.S. imports of Russian energy on Tuesday without the participation of its European allies. Why is the EU not allying with the United States on this? Well, the EU gets a lot of oil. So they're not worried. They're getting a lot of oil as a result of Russia, so they're not going to be supporting in the same way necessarily. The ban will include Russian oil, liquefied natural gas, and coal, according to two people who spoke in a commodity condition of anonymity. The decision was made in consultation with European allies who rely more heavily on the U.S. on Russian energy. Russian gas and oil had been far the most spared from sanctions introduced by the U.S. and European countries due to the concern over the economic impact. Russian oil was up 3% of all crude they made up 3% of all shipments that arrived in the U.S. So this is good. We have an official number because I didn't know this yet. Russian oil was 3% of all oil in the U.S. last year. Overall, imports of Russian oil and petroleum products represented about 8% of the U.S. total U.S. imports on Russian crude in 2022. Interesting. So a quote here, still the U.S. is relatively a smaller buyer than Europe, and the bigger risk to prices rallying lies in coordinated action between the U.S. and Europe. For now, much of the impact of a U.S. ban was priced in by the market over the weekend. That is true. Traders are saying the question now is about how long the ban lasts and whether oil from Iran or Venezuela could help fill the gap. That is the question. Are we going to buy oil from Iran and Venezuela, and how are we going to be able to do this? CJ says this is crazy times. How can we profit? If you trade oil and you trade commodities and you trade wheat and NTR, you're probably going to profit. The question is just making sure you can time it in a meaningful way. But that's growth stocks are not the stocks to be in right now. Like, growth stocks are not doing well. They're not going to do well. It's going to take a long time, I think, at least the next year for them to be back to somewhat normal. So I would not expect growth stocks to be in a good situation. Shell is going to stop buying Russian oil and gas. More and more companies are just getting out of Russia, guys. More and more companies are like, screw it, we're just leaving. The U.S. dollar is losing big on this massive power shift to... Yeah, I don't buy that, guys. I don't think the U.S. dollar is going to get hit. The U.S. dollar is pretty supreme at the end of the day. So, like, as much as, like, things may go bad, I don't know if the U.S. dollar gets destroyed like a lot of people think it might get destroyed. Gold at $2,000 per ounce. Let's look at the price of gold right now, actually. Yeah, 2038. Now, Palantir bought 50... Again, why did Palantir buy $50 million of gold? What was the logic behind it? That is the question. And it seems like it was a Black Swan event. That was their logic. And I guess we have a Black Swan event. Maybe they should have bought $100 million. Now, it's great that Palantir did not buy... For all the people that were like, Palantir should have bought Bitcoin versus gold. Like, first of all, if Palantir bought Bitcoin over gold, I would not have faith in management, because why are you buying such a volatile asset? Like, Elon did it and he sold it. It was smart. Palantir's talking about a black swan event. You don't buy Bitcoin for a black swan event. That makes zero sense. Like, what is Bitcoin going to do to protect you in a black swan event? Bitcoin reacts the same way every other stock reacts in a black swan event. You need something that's an actual hedge, and gold was an actual real hedge. Airbnb is up $133. Yeah, I don't know why Airbnb is up. Maybe the refugee crisis, to be honest. I know Airbnb is losing money on that, but in general, that's probably just more and more bookings through Airbnb. So that can be an argument there. NTR is down today. Yeah, NTR is down. So that, and again, that's why it's hard to trade it, right? So like, people are like, what can I make money in right now? Well, you could make money in NTR at $101 if you think it's going to 115, but now it's back to 96. So if you bought at 101, you're down. Now, will it come back? Maybe, but it's not like a growth stock where you know, all right, in 2 years, it's probably going to be back. It's just like a swing trade play. And if the Russia oil stuff gets solved in the next 2 weeks, NTR may never see 90s again in its lifetime, right? Because if you look at the 6 months, NTR was down at $62. This run-up is only because of this oil crisis. So when people are like, how do I make money right now? If you know how to trade this, you can make a ton of money. The problem is most people don't know how to do that, including myself. And, I'll get better at that over time. I'll learn about that over time. But I'm like you guys. I mean, like, I kind of want to sleep well at night. And I don't know if I can sleep well at night with NTR. Also, the other thing about trading, guys, you have to be glued to the screen. Like, I'm not glued to the screen all day. If you're trading, you've got to be glued to everything that's going on because you got to get in and out of your trade immediately. So if you can't do that, it's not the easiest thing to do. Why did they buy only $50 million of Gulf? Well, they have to make a decision. At the end of the day, I also don't think they want to put all their reserves in gold because what if that Black Swan event doesn't happen? That's why it was a little bit of a hedge. That's all it was, a little bit of a hedge. Jay Coy, what's up, Amit? Hello, Jay Coy. Thank you for being here. Bitcoin Maximus is about to cancel this channel. Yo, again, if you're a Bitcoin Maximus, you should feel fine over the next 10 years for your Bitcoin. But right now, when, the NASDAQ and growth stocks are doing bad, you should probably recognize that Bitcoin is in the same boat. You are not special if you are Bitcoin. Look at Square, $94. I was ready to buy Square at $195. I remember this. I was ready to buy it right around here, December 2021. I was so excited for that, and then it just went down. Let's look at PayPal. What's going on with PayPal, bruh? Because PayPal's got some explaining to. Everyone uses PayPal. In fact, I will have to use PayPal today. Shout out to the person that knows in this chat why I have to use PayPal today. But PayPal is interesting. Do you think REITs are a good play right now? I don't know because the housing market is like... The housing market is going up, and like that could be good for REITs, but it also could be bad from a volatility perspective. So, I mean, in general, for like a 5-year horizon, REITs are fine, but for now, for a swing trade, I don't know exactly if they're the best. PayPal is under $100. We need to look at the max chart on PayPal. Last time PayPal was at this level was March 2020. Okay. Oh, the internet just killed. Give me one, or not the internet, the camera. Let me change my camera real quick. Boom, I'm back. Back. Let me adjust this real quick. There we go. So yeah, guys, my DSLR camera, it runs out of like battery, not battery, it runs out of like heat. It gets overheated sometimes. So now we're back to a different one. So PayPal's under $100. Like, PayPal went public in 2015. Look at this. At $36. Nice rise. $310. June 2021. And now it's right back down to the pandemic level. Literally right back down to the pandemic level. That's where we're at right now. Which is absolutely insane. PayPal under $100 seems like an amazing bargain. Could it go lower? Yes, but like, is it going to go down to 2018 levels? $80? It's only $12 away. Like, that's the crazy part about this. It's only $12 away from going back to where it was in 2018, which is a better deal than it is right now. And that's why buying is hard. Look at this. Netflix under $350. Boom. $344. October 2019, Netflix was at $268. Last time it was at this level was April 2020, it was at $344, and then it had a run up to $700. And I knew, I don't want to say idiots, but I knew idiots on YouTube who were buying this at $700 or $690 because they thought Netflix had a content moat. It's like, give me a break. It's like, goodness. So Netflix, I mean, I think it deserves to be here, but if it gets a little bit cheaper, it might be an absolute buy at that point. I don't mean to call those people idiots. I'm sorry about that. It's just Netflix at $6.90. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm not saying I'm the best stock market investor or trader, but I know one thing. Don't buy a company that's spending $20 billion on content per year, losing money, and expects to be able to grow into subscribers when they already have 220 million subscribers. Like, there's a lot of competition for content. They don't have the best content. I wouldn't think that's a big buy. I've had a great year day trading Palantir in 2022. That said, everything I earned with Palantir, I lost day trading Tesla. Wow. That's crazy, Victor. Thanks for letting us know that. Wow, that's rough. So everything you got, can you explain how much money you made on Palantir day trading and how much you lost? I think a lot of us would love to know that. And that's why day trading is risky, right? That's why it's risky. Shopify 520. Oh my goodness. Shopify is a stock that I should have been buying in 2017 when it was around $90. Why should I have been buying it? Because I was using Shopify to launch e-commerce businesses that failed, like any young entrepreneur that's like, hey, I'm going to start an e-commerce store because, like, why not? I failed. I'm not afraid to admit it. But goodness gracious, $520. It was at $1,700. Just like 3 months ago. $1,700. What is this? It's down $1,200, bro. Kathy was buying it at like $1,300. Goodness gracious. Are you buying Palantir at these levels? I would if I had cash. I just don't have cash anymore. Like, I'm just not buying anymore because at this point I don't have any cash anymore. I remember when Netflix was at $3. Wow, you've been here for a minute, David. You remember when Netflix was there. AMD at $100. I said last night on Twitter that AMD at 80 looks amazing to me. Not at 90, at 80. At 80, I'm buying. But yeah, I mean, AMD ran up to 164. Wait, where's NVIDIA? Is NVIDIA under 200? Oh, it's close, guys. It is close. $7 away. NVIDIA, remember when NVIDIA was at 320? Look at it, or 340. Look at this, $340 NVIDIA was at November 2020. I remember October 2021, there was a massive, look at this, massive run up in NVIDIA. I mean, there was FOMO I was having FOMO on NVIDIA, bro. I was having FOMO on NVIDIA. NVIDIA was a big one. Elon did not buy BTC. Tesla did. Yeah, Tesla bought it. I'm pretty sure Elon, let's look at Doge. Elon definitely has been trying to pump Doge. It's kind of hard. Do you guys feel bad for the Dogecoin millionaire, that guy? Do you guys know who I'm talking about? Who had like $2 million of Dogecoin when it was at like 67 cents and he didn't sell? That's, I admired him for that. And honestly, from a content perspective, I feel like you can make those $2 million back if you develop a brand as the Dogecoin millionaire. Like, I do think they're strategic there. But he hasn't really developed that brand. He just started buying like Floki and Shiba Inu and all these other crappy coins. And that's his brand. And I'm like, bro, you're not gonna, like, you could easily make $2 million off a sponsorship or like 10 sponsorships at $200,000 each if you have 1 million followers. Like, you can easily make $2 million in the social media space. That's not that crazy. So like, I understood why he didn't sell Dogecoin. I don't think it was this mission of like, oh, I'm gonna wait till it goes to $2, then I'm gonna, like, that would be awesome. But I think he was like, well, this is my personality, this is my brand. If I lose this personality and brand, then I have nothing, which makes sense. But if you're not building that brand and Dogecoin drops, you have nothing at that point. That's the hard part. But remember when Dogecoin, look at this. Remember when Dogecoin went up to 74 cents? 74 cents. This was in May 20. This was, guys, my sister was making money off Dogecoin. Like, this is just absolute insanity when people are making money off Dogecoin. That's when you got to know it's something bad is happening. And I'm guilty of it too. But that's rough. Victor says, I made roughly 5K this year with 20K in Palantir, but I started with 10K day trading in Tesla in 2018. I could have had 200K now. Instead, now I have 25K. Day trading is like an addiction. Not smart. Makes sense. Thank you for sharing that, Victor. Definitely makes sense. Ronaldo says, sure, ignore your mistake saying Elon sold all of his Bitcoin. I never said Elon sold all of his Bitcoin. I said he sold enough Bitcoin for a profit. He may have some Bitcoin left. I don't even know if Tesla has Bitcoin on their balance sheets. Let me know. I'm actually ignorant on that. Do they still have Bitcoin on their balance sheets? Because I thought Tesla sold a decent amount of it, but that may be the case. Do you own crypto? No, I don't own crypto. Zach, Dogecoin millionaire had it coming. Don't fall in love with your investments. They'll never love you back. I mean, yeah, in the context of Dogecoin. Dogecoin could have still sold and continued all of YouTube. Now, no, I don't know if I agree with that. You're saying Dogecoin could have sold and continued YouTube. what would he talk about on YouTube if he sold his Dogecoin? Like, I mean, well, granted, if you make $2 million and you're on YouTube and you publicly make a profit of $2 million, I guess people like trust you and respect you. But I think that was his ethos. Like the idea that he wasn't selling, that's what kept people excited for his content. And now that that's gone, it's like, I don't know. It's a little bit harder to imagine. We're coming close to the end of the live stream. Google 2,500 makes sense why they're down. They just bought a big company. I just got a notification from Bloomberg. The UK plans to ban imports on Russian oil, its latest sanction move against Moscow over the war in Ukraine. So it makes sense. The UK and Moscow, or UK is banning it, along with the United States is banning it. Let's look at some of Palantir's SPACs. Palantir SPACs were doing really well yesterday. Let's look at Cellularity. Cellularity is a placenta-based stock. $8, not bad. Not bad. Cellularity is doing well. I did a let me show you guys a video that I did on Palantir. I'm not gonna play the video, I'm just gonna show you the thumbnail. Emit Cellularity Palantir. Oh, hold on. It's Emit Big Bets on Placenta. Palantir Placenta. Wow, did I spell it wrong? I suck. Placenta. There we go. Palantir's big bet on placentas. Watch this video, guys. If you haven't seen it yet, watch it today. It's 20 minutes. Look at me. I was a young little YouTuber, December 9th, 2021. It's 20 minutes of actually analyzing Palantir's bet on this company called Cellularity, which is a really interesting... It's a biotech company, but they're using Foundry to do intense drug discovery for R&D. And their use of Foundry is actually enabling really, really unique data-driven research for drug discovery. And I imagine if Cellularity works out, Pfizer, Moderna, these companies are all going to be using Palantir's Foundry to be able to enable drug discovery and data analytics at scale, right? So they're doing really well, $8.15, really, really awesome. You got Wejo, still stuck at $2. I will be interviewing the CEO of Wejo later this month, so definitely look out for that. We're going to have, if you guys have any questions, leave your comments on this video if you have any questions for what you would want me to ask the CEO of Wejo, because I will be interviewing him soon, which will be fun. All right, I believe that's the end of the live stream. Now, here's what's going on with the live stream, okay? Every time I end it, it ends off randomly off YouTube because I think there's a lag between my live stream software and YouTube. So I'm going to say bye, and I'm going to wait till I see the YouTube software or the YouTube video like have me say bye, and then it's gonna be, and then I'm gonna end the stream so that it doesn't end abruptly, and we're gonna see if this works today. So I'm signing off. Thank you guys for morning live stream. I am live streaming late at night, by the way, if anyone wants to show up around 11 p.m. I'm live streaming just late night stock talks. We did one last night. You guys can check it out and see how that video went, but I will be here later this night talking about stocks and other fun stuff. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.